Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center. With a tasty treat today. John, who'd you bring in?
Yes, welcome everybody to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President here, John Gutierrez. We have another special group here with us today. They are CAFE Cultura from downtown Santa Ana. These guys are dear friends, community leaders. We have with us today Sam Ruiz and, of course, Frank Farias. But we also know that Luis, Red, Anaya, and Gilbert Meza are listening to us. So we'll send a quick shout out to them. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us, John.
Oh, let's get their mics up here. There we go. Let's make sure we can hear them here.
All right, go ahead.
All right, there we go. Let's try that. Try that again.
Thank you for having us, John.
Yes.
Likewise. Thank you, man.
Now, did they not get the memo that they're supposed to bring food?
Paul always wants food. You know, he
Feed
gets
the producer. That's what it says.
Yes, feed the producer. Is that what it says? Well, listen, Paul, if you want to try the food, you got to go to downtown Santa Ana.
I guess I got to go.
CAFE Cultura, which is, I like to tell people it's in front of the big federal building there. And so today we're going to get to know the founders, the owners. We're going to get to know the history of it. And we'll go into some of the great food they have and everything that's going downtown Santa Ana with them. And so, again, thank you, Sam, for being with us, and Frank. And can you guys just start off by giving us a little bit of a history of CAFE Cultura, where it got started, how it got started, and how'd you end up in downtown Santa Ana?
Well, I was going to say I'll let Frank take it, but he pointed. So, the story goes back quite a bit, about almost 8.5 years now. At the time, me and my wife were operating our other coffee shop, Euro Cafe, of course, right by South
Shout
Coast.
out to Euro Cafe.
Shout out to Euro Cafe.
Because I know there's one over there by South Coast Plaza. We love that one.
Right.
But you're opening a new one, of course, in downtown Orange.
Right at the Orange Circle. Yeah, we've been really lucky to get into a great market there. So that'll be coming up probably in the next few months.
And it's important we share that with our listeners because we're all about small businesses here at the Chamber. And we're all about what's the history. How did you get into this? Why did you start this? And obviously, CAFE Cultura, the roots come from you and your wife at Euro Cafe. And then suddenly, how did it end up to what it is, obviously, starting off CAFE Cultura?
Well, it was a combination of things. Luis, Red, and I, of course, had been a longtime friend of mine. And for the longest time, he had always told me, like, hey, like, the next time there's something like a Euro, like, let's do it together. And then me and him, me being from Mexico City, we said we should do something more Latin theme, more Mexican theme, more for our people.
So you were born in Mexico?
I was born and raised in Mexico City, yes. So I was there till I was about 9 years old.
So you have a lot of those roots there, right?
Yeah, for me, I mean, if you go to Mexico City and then you walk our shop, it feels like it should be there.
And it does.
It does.
I love the paintings. I love the art. If you've never been to it as a listener, it's a beautiful restaurant.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's 8 years of work because we're always evolving, changing it, but that's sort of how
It's actually 9.
9 years. Wow, going on 9.
10. Yeah, going
Lose
on
track
10.
of time. They said, hey, you don't count the years when you're having fun.
Frank says it feels like 20.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how it started. At the time, there at that location, there was it was more of a tiendita, more of a store.
Okay.
A gentleman named Rudy used to sell T-shirts and Mexican merchandise.
Nice.
And at the time, he was trying to transition into something else in his life. So he reached out to me because he knew me through Euro. At the time when I was building out Euro, I believe he was a manager there at Home Depot, and I was buying a bunch of stuff, and he's like, hey, are you building like a restaurant? I'm like, how do you know? I was like, oh yeah, because I'm trying to do the same.
Oh.
So that's kind of how I met Rudy. And then at the time, like I said, he had, his more of a store, and he was trying to do something else at the time with his life. So he said, hey, I'm interested in selling my store, selling my location. So that's when I called Luis or Red, and I said, hey, there could be a chance in downtown Santa Ana for us to do what we've always kind of wanted to do. And at the time, he felt that it was the right time to do it. So then we spoke to Rudy about it, and he had a little bit of a disconnect with what it was worth. So at the time, we said, hey, you think it's worth more than what we think as far as taking over your spot. So go ahead and you can stay on board as a silent partner kind of thing. He did. We opened up. 30 days, we gutted the place, remodeled the place, kind of relaunched. And we kept some of the stuff that he used to sell on our menu to kind of not make people feel we were strangers. Downtown Santa Ana has always been a very tight-knit community.
Yes.
And
yes.
as development was happening, there was a lot of this big word gentrification being thrown around. So we didn't want to feel like we were just wiping out what he had been for so many years as the local tiendita. And we've relaunched, and it kind of took off, to be honest with you, faster than we thought. A few years later, we came to a conclusion with him that he wanted to keep his original name, and we wanted to move forward. So then we just decided to split. He kept his name, and then we at that time became CAFE CULTURA.
Okay. Where does Frank and Gilbert come along in this history? You guys became partners at what point, or how did that happen? This is important because keep in mind, again, at the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we love helping businesses grow.
Right.
And you have to think of a mentorship, right? In the essence of anybody listening here.
Right.
This is part of evolving. This is part of growth and changes, right?
Of course.
So we want to know that story. How did that happen when you bring other
You want me
partners?
to jump in on this one?
Sure.
So, like Sam mentioned, he had at the time Euro Cafe with his wife and sister-in-law, and he and Red would always talk about doing something in the future, right? Red, being the entrepreneur he is, wanted to grow his portfolio and investments, right?
And that's Luis Anaya,
Luis
a.k.a.
Anaya,
Red.
aka Red.
Just want to make sure we clarify
right.
that.
So
They're like, who? People are listening like, who's Red? You know?
so Red and I at the time were doing real estate. I was just getting my real estate license, and I was under his wing. So Red would always talk about, dude, Euro Cafe, and we would actually go eat Euro Cafe after working out because Red had a gym, a boxing gym, with Chewy,
Nice.
RTB boxing.
Chewy
Gutierrez. So
Nice.
he and Red were partnered up with that gym, and I think Sam was doing supplements at the time as well as another project.
Right.
So
Entrepreneurs, right? In all
just
phases.
trying to get get ahead of the rat race type of thing, right? And so Sam reaches out to Red, says, "Hey, I have this opportunity for this restaurant." Red tells me, "Hey, do you want to come with?" Because I was always with Red. Almost como chicle. We're always together because I was.
Chicle means gum, guys. Gum.
Yes. I was stuck to him because I was trying to learn during real estate, and Red was guiding me on that. So I show up to this meeting with Sam. I'm just a third wheel there now, and Red's like, "Hey, I want him to get on board." And Sam's like, "Oh, what does he know about restaurants?" And I'm like, "Hey, well, I happen to come from a family of restaurants. My godfather used to own El Comal, back in the days."
That's right. El Comal.
El Comal, right? Which happens to also be Gilbert's uncle.
That's right. Wow.
Through talking, maybe a week and a half of talking about, potentially taking over this Santa Ana location, that's how I came into the picture of becoming a partner with Sam.
That's
and Red.
great that Red introduced you that way. Like, hey, let's have him be involved in this, right?
Right, because the biggest concern that Red always would tease me for with Euro is that we were enslaved there. We were there all day, every day. And anybody who's listening or knows family that has a restaurant, it's like a second marriage. You're there all the time. So he knew and understood that. So he told me, hey, my livelihood is real estate. At the time he had 2 kids and a wife. He had just moved back from Arizona. So he's like, I can't be there all day, every day at the restaurant because I need to provide for my family. But in lieu or in exchange of me not being able to be there for so long, I can bring this guy would be our partner who can also help us carry the load of what it takes to the day-to-day. And I've learned that that's always important. Even at Euro Cafe, it's me and my wife and my sister-in-law. I think if I would have tried to do it alone, I would have probably lost my mind. But my mentor is Steve Carfrides, which is a Greek guy who's partnered with Wing and Lamb, who founded Wahoo's Fish Tacos.
Okay.
And I've learned from them that one guy can't do it all. So it was 4 of them. It was the 3 Hawaiian brothers, and then Steve, who came back from more of the corporate field, kind of helped them develop. So understanding that more bodies is better is why I was really open to the idea of when Red talked about bringing Frank on board, was because I knew we were going to need the manpower. I had done it already for 3 years, and there's no way 2 people could kind of take over that kind of responsibility.
That's great that you saw that I can't do it by myself. It's
Right.
okay. And not to mention you had another restaurant, right?
Right.
And even at that restaurant, you have other family members.
Right.
And for our listeners, it goes to show folks that you can't do it by yourself.
Nope.
You can't be so stubborn, right?
Right.
And as a business owner, I know I have my wife, my sister that are always there helping me. You know, as partners, we're helping each other, and it's great to see that you saw that there was an opportunity to work together, because he easily could have been like, no, man, I got this. I don't need you guys. I'm good, right?
Right.
So then at that point, you get involved. Frank gets involved. I'm sorry, Frank. You and Red get involved.
Correct.
What happens next?
We come to an agreement with the old owner of the location. We literally design a menu and a concept in like 10 days.
Nice.
And we just go crazy. We tear the place down to studs.
Yes.
And we remodel the tile, remodel the whole place. And we open. We just see like...
And what year was that?
2014.
2014.
July 26th.
What was that like for you guys? Because you're opening now a different concept, right?
Right.
From what you had.
Of course.
It's a little bit of a risk.
It's a risk. It's similar but different. Similar, I mean, it has, the foundation is like a coffee shop, a cafe.
By the way, I love the chilaquiles. If you ever go there, I got to throw this out there, Paul. And I'll take you there, Paul. I'll take you there to eat.
Everybody's holding you accountable for
Yes,
this, right?
you can't bring chilaquiles here because
No.
if you ever eat chilaquiles, they get soggy. If you
Right.
gotta eat them fresh, right?
Yeah, our food's meant to be eaten fresh
Yeah.
at the restaurant.
Yes, and by the way, the lines, I mean, credit to your great food. I
Thanks.
was just there the other day, and the lines were just, it goes to show all the love from the community. They
course.
appreciate the love you're giving back the community.
Right.
I personally love the torta, the breakfast torta that has chorizo, and I think it has,
Queso fresco, beans, spinach.
I'm not a spinach eater. My wife's probably listening going, yeah, that's true. He doesn't like spinach.
Yeah.
But I love it in that torta.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting how
Well-balanced.
I don't even think about it. Thank you, Frank. Well balanced. Very delicious torta. If you're listening, chilaquiles and the breakfast torta are two of my favorites. And of course, you guys have an assorted of like really cool breakfast stuff, right?
Somebody wants to know what a I'm not alone.
What a chilaquile is?
What a chilaquile
Sam,
is.
please.
Sam, share with
Please
everybody what a
share this.
chilaquile is.
Chilaquiles is there's a history behind it, and then there's a basic description.
Short version.
For
Short
the,
version.
for the record,
short
Sam
version.
did not like chilaquiles.
Ah.
I grew up in Mexico City, so I'm spoiled with good food.
Yeah.
So chilaquiles, the best way to describe them, they're breakfast nachos. That's what I call them.
Breakfast night, Sam. That
That's
is
what
a
it is.
great way to put it. Breakfast nachos, but
He just offended half of us. But sure, I mean, I
Yeah.
can't confirm or deny, but I guess,
the chile verde are my favorite ones. Chilaquiles, the chile verde, and Paul, have you never had them, really, Paul?
No, I never even heard of them.
We
Never
got to
even
go
heard of
have
them.
some.
So,
Yes.
continue with your explanation of chilaquiles,
Yes.
Sam.
So in essence, is you take tortillas. Back in the day, they're probably like the older tortillas that they're trying to salvage. Cut them up into triangles. They fry them. Usually they're pan fried, deep fried. Once those are all nice and crispy, you turn on your pan. You heat up your either green or your red salsa, which is more traditional. Some places do them with mole. Some places
Sounds
do them
so
with whatever.
delicious.
Once your salsa nice and hot, you throw chips in there. You saute them, get them all going. Again, breakfast nachos. Then standard usually comes with 2 sunny side up eggs.
That's right.
You smother them in queso fresco and then fresh, crema.
So delicious.
Cilantro. Some places like to do onions. We don't. I feel like a lot of people are.
And some
50-50
people add
on
meat,
onions.
right?
Right.
Of course, yeah. You can always add steak or chicken. Now we're actually adding
Yeah.
pastor to our menu, so you'll be able to add al pastor to ours.
Ooh, pastor.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So
Oh, wow.
that's a short description of what it is, but it's a comfort food back in Mexico. A lot of people, of out of need, this kind of became a thing. They didn't want to throw away their old tortillas. Like, what do we do with them? So
Yeah.
they fried them. And
For
there
somebody
you go.
who's never been there, how would you describe? You say it's like a cafe. Is there a particular style of cuisine? Because I've learned through my daughter that there's many styles of Mexican food. There's
Yes.
Veracruz has one kind with more
You guys
fish,
have a
maybe.
mixture, though, don't you? What did you
North
say?
and south and everything. There's all
So-
these different cuisines.
So
in
Red,
Mexico.
our business partner Red likes to say, hey, all Mexican food is not buckets of beer and banda, right?
Right.
Which he's right. I think, we have that bad fame as Mexicans that that's all Mexican food is. You go to a marisco and it's just banda and buckets of beer, right? It's not the case. The Republic of Mexico has many, many cultures to offer as far as, cuisine. And what we took is
My daughter always likes mole. Is that
Mole.
right? And that's only from, I think, like Veracruz or whatever. There's some part of Mexico where that's more prominent.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, there's different regions of Mexico that introduce a specific plate, right? And then every other part of Mexico introduces their version of it, right? Like, I mean, there's over probably 30, 40, 50 versions of chilaquiles, right? So when people say, hey, my grandma made them this way, well, that's great. We make them this way. It's different. You
So
know?
how would you describe? Is it from a particular region or a particular style, or
I
way
think I
you
would
do
say
it?
I would say the majority of our food is more Mexico City styled.
Yeah.
More of like you know, breakfast on the go kind of thing. In Mexico City, there's tons of food vendors, street vendors. So we kind of took that concept and kind of give it more of like a modern twist, because we wanted to come up with something that wasn't something that we're not trying to be, right? We're not trying to serve you a $60 plate, or we're not trying to become a place that's going for a Michelin star or anything like that. We wanted something that was fast casual, good quality, but at the same time rooted in like our culture.
But it's very family oriented. That's what I like about it.
Right.
When you arrive there, you've got as you enter it, it is this cafe kind of feeling, very peaceful, very calm.
Right.
You even have a little lounge area there to the
Right.
right that I think that's
Amigos.
really cool.
Yeah.
So you can come in and in essence, I hate to make that comment to the other Starbucks world, but you have a nice place in case you don't want to eat food. You
Yeah.
can just come and chill and have a nice cafe
Yep.
de olla, right?
Right.
Cafe de olla.
Cafe de olla.
You can just have a pan dulce because you have delicious pan dulce. And so there's that concept there is really cool. But then again, hey, by the way, we're hungry. Let's get some food now, right?
Right.
Or something. So that's what I love of the balance of your
Right.
your business.
Yeah, so we were able to take, I guess, the best of both worlds, right? A restaurant and then a coffee house, right? We're considered a specialty coffee house, which means we have high-grade organic coffee, right? It's not like other coffee houses that are serving, you know, there's different levels to it, right? We're considered specialty house coffee. But we also have food. So it's the best of both worlds,
And
right?
does the coffee come from? I don't even know. Do they grow coffee in Mexico? Or
They
is this
do.
all
Yes,
from
so
Colombia
our
and stuff?
coffee happens to come from Chiapas, Mexico. It's a single origin organic, so it goes through a specific process to be graded organic. So you don't just decide to label it; it has to go
Real
through
quick.
a grading process.
Frank, share with people what is cafe de olla, because I think a lot of people don't know what that is. And I love cafe de olla because I'm not a very heavy coffee drinker. So cafe de olla is more chill,
Yeah,
right?
so I mean, Café de Olla, you know, came about from, you know, kind of the same story what Sam was mentioning, the chilaquiles, right? It's more of a humble beginning where people were roasting coffee, I mean, not a cazuela, but
Yeah, like a clay pot.
like a clay pot, and you know, they were making coffee. They were burning coffee beans per se, and then they were making it into an actual, you know, coffee drink by adding cinnamon, and then some people started adding piloncillo, which sweetened it, and then that's kind of how, you know, there's different versions of it, but that's how it, in essence, how it came about.
yeah.
Café de Olla.
I really like cafe de olla because I'm not a big heavy cafe. So if you've never had it, go out and try it. Of course, I want to go into a little bit about what is next for, you know, obviously Cafe Cultura. Are you guys, I know you mentioned you're incorporating El Pastor now,
Right.
meats. What is next? What's going on? I know you opened another one in Azusa, right?
Correct. Yep. Downtown Azusa, right? Down the street from APU, Azusa Pacific University, but close enough to like Pasadena, neighboring cities where we can kind of try to.
And that
nurture
one has a
fun.
huge patio.
Yeah, that one we got really lucky. The patio is massive, so we kind of built the cover on that, and it's California. People love outdoor dining. I mean, this week not particularly in that location because it's so close to the mountains and it's tons of snow this week and it's really cold out there. But for the most part, California is, you know, Sunshine State. So we really have focused more on locations that have a great patio, like we built here in downtown Santa Ana and then now in Azusa. But our goal is to continue to do that in cities where we feel there's a good balance of the food culture and at the same time our culture, which would be Hispanic or specifically, you know, Mexicans.
But I think it's great that you're going into these downtown areas. You're also helping those communities. You're bringing business, cultural. You're educating the community on who we are as far as a Hispanic community.
Of course.
You're bringing your background from Mexico City. I know you guys go to Mexico and you go visit, but
Yeah.
I've seen how you guys like to study the foods there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and anybody who's listening who has ever worked or owned in a restaurant understands that food is a lot like art. Everybody kind of inspires each other. So we like to go down there because the same way people who design, you know, fashion in California fly to Paris to see what's the next best thing in fashion, going to these different areas of Mexico, it is good to see what's up and coming there, what's trending, right? Maybe all of a sudden couple years ago, everybody was doing this torta de tamal, which is putting a tamal inside of a bolillo, which is like a Mexican
I seen that.
dough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we did that for a couple months just to kind of try it, to give people a little bit of taste of what's going on over there. Everybody doesn't have the luxury to go to Mexico every 6 months.
Yes.
Some of us are really lucky that we can have that ability. So trying to bring the new ideas and what's kind of happening over there here is a lot of people do that. And we've seen that being done very well by, other names in the industry who are doing great things.
Well, I want to thank you guys for inviting me to your downtown Azusa grand opening. I was a part of that.
Right.
I know Gilbert invited me out. You guys invited me out. And it was an awesome event. I wasn't part of your downtown Santa because that was like over 10 years ago.
Right.
But to see the launching of it, the starting of it, the community coming there. I know you had a celebrity stop by. Drives.
Jay Leno,
Jay
yeah.
Leno.
We won't throw names out there.
Yeah.
Jay Leno.
Yeah.
That guy. You guys did something with him, right?
Yeah, they film Cars and Coffee a lot in obviously areas of LA, and he was gonna go try a electric
Porsche.
version of a Porsche before the Porsche came out electric, and they rode it up and down the canyon. And our location, we got really lucky where if you're gonna go up into the Azusa Canyon, where a lot of people go off-roading and driving fast cars, you have to go right by us.
Right, Route 66.
Route 66
is what we're on. So Foothill Boulevard, otherwise known as Route 66.
Yeah, so he stopped by. Very nice man. It was probably a couple months right before he had the incident where he burned half his face off. It was pretty sad, but he's doing well, I heard, so that's good.
So that was a cool experience.
Sure
Very
was.
cool. Very cool.
But it goes to show that even people like Jay Leno or these production companies are open and to the idea of like, let's incorporate our Hispanic community, right? Again, we're here at the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce podcast show with CAFE Cultura, the founders, of course, Sam Ruiz here, Frank Farias, and of course, we're missing Luis Red Anaya and Gilbert Meza, who, by the way, I've known Gilbert since we were kids in Santa, Pop Warner.
Yeah.
The guy's like a brother to me, and his parents were almost like parents to me. So that he means a lot to me, and his parents mean a lot to me, and
Good.
shout out to him. So let's go back to Santa Ana. Let's go back down to downtown Santa Ana, because I know there's been a lot going on there. The trolley that's
construction.
all being finished off, right? So now things are clearing up, right? And I know there's been some cool downtown events going on, like the Tamale Fest, and I know there's other stuff going on that Eddie Chiares has been doing down there with this whole group. And so what's next in downtown Santa Ana? Because we want to make sure our listeners know, let's get back out there. Let's go support you guys. Everything's back to normal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, COVID was a huge blow to downtown. Downtown was literally rapid, full steam ahead. Tons of new restaurants opening. As the people who have been down there know, there's a huge development coming down from Toll Brothers there as well. Live and work lofts, new retail space. So the trolley. I mean, if you looked at downtown Santa Ana now, you would not believe that if we were standing there 10 years ago and I told you this is what it's going to be. It's literally Long Beach 10 years ago. Long Beach developed dramatically in the downtown, 2nd Street, and all those streets right there by the college. So Santa Ana was on the way up. We were, like I said, full steam ahead, and then COVID came and was a huge blow to everybody. Tons of small businesses, unfortunately, didn't make it, but the ones that did make it are slowly kind of getting back out there. So we're really proud of what everybody's kind of done collectively. If you go down 4th Street, I think it's really nice to see how much it's just modernized and cleaned up. There's a lot of people that have unfortunately labeled that as gentrification, but I think they need to be a little bit more informed as far as the details. The majority of the people that own businesses down there are people like us, right? Hispanics, 2nd, 3rd generations like us, children of immigrants, people who are making that jump to say, hey, if all these other people and all these other cultures can be business owners, why can't we do it? And going out there and making the jump. Historically, restaurants in California, they're either Asian ethnicity owned or Greek, the Europeans, like they've dominated that industry, and sadly we're always the people that work in them. So why can't we own them? So now you see so many people, like we're really good friends over with Matt and Ana Laura over from Perla, and it's good to see more and more young Hispanic or Mexican owned businesses, but because they're modern and different, we're sometimes labeled as gentrifiers, which are really the opposite.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the words I like to use when people are trying to put titles and all that is, after the pandemic, we hear a lot here at the chamber. I hear a lot from businesses: rebuild, restructure, and pivot.
Right.
Those are probably the three most important words that I've heard in business lately.
Right.
Because coming out of the pandemic, it's like there's a lot of changes, right? You're rebuilding, you're restructuring, you're pivoting. Maybe you're adding different foods, different. I see you guys added a patio.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just having lunch the other day at Perlas. I took a client over there who's looking at their venue upstairs, and we're sitting there, and he's looking at your patio, and he says to me, you know, and this is Mario from Hispanic 100, who's one of our partners of our chamber, and he says, you know, they should build those on all these restaurants. That would be so cool to have all these cool patios.
Right.
But I know that's, you know, easier said than done, right?
Of course.
Because you have the streets, that you have the sidewalks, right?
Right.
And there's probably rules and regulations and laws and all this you have to go through. But it looks really cool, your patio, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We like to consider ourselves open to adapting. And I think that's the number one issue with a lot of businesses or people in general, right? We don't like to adapt. We don't like change. We don't either. But guess what? We have no choice but to adapt and do what's best for the business and for our staff and for our customers, right? As far as that patio goes, we're hoping it could be, we could be the pioneers for a new downtown look. You know, at the end of the day, if downtown's going to develop the way we foresee it to be in the next 5 to 10 years, what better than having nice outdoor patios for all the businesses, man?
And real quick, I want to make sure we give a shout out to your staff, because we wouldn't be who we are in business if it wasn't for our hardworking everyday staff.
Agreed.
Right. And it's so hard to find good people today, right?
is.
It's so hard to find people that want to work, and it's like people have disappeared, right? I hear this from a lot of our restaurant owners. I can't find enough people, enough workers. And so shout out to your staff. They're always doing an amazing job. We have about 2 minutes left, guys. Share with the audience anything else you want to share as far as, and I know you're adding the pastor. So is pastor going to be on everything? What are we doing? Burritos?
Well, no, we're going to have a pastor burrito. We're going to have a pastor quesadilla and a pastor torta.
Oh, pastor quesadilla.
Right.
That sounds so good.
But by adding the protein, now they can add it to whatever they wanted. So if you
Yes.
want to add, pastor to chilaquiles, you can. If you want to have a breakfast burrito with pastor, you can. So just bringing it on board kind of opens the door to doing whatever we want.
And on that note, I know you have a really good vegan breakfast, right? Burrito, is it? I think?
We do. Yeah. It took me about a good year to really be comfortable with doing it, because I know vegan people have a really high standard of what it's supposed to be, taste like, quality, and sourcing it. So we found a couple companies that we felt really good about putting a product out there that we felt tasted like us, but was still fully 100%, free of animal byproduct. So we found Just Egg. We makes a great egg replacement. And then we found a really good soy chorizo that tastes a lot like the classic chorizo.
Yes.
And those two together just make a really good burrito. If I were to give you a regular burrito and our vegan burrito and not tell you, and I cut it in half, you would not know.
I'll be honest with you, I love the vegan burrito. It's
Okay, everybody listening and watching, go try the vegan burrito. Let's have the vegan test.
Food Beast approved, so.
Because that is a big community. I got probably at least 2 or 3 nieces that are vegan. My mom's vegan. I'm always looking at things for my mom, of course.
Nice.
And I want to just, before we go, thank you guys. You guys were sponsors of our toy drive. And I really appreciated you guys coming out and supporting us at our toy drive. And I've always appreciated that. Anybody who supports back the community, and our toy drive, of course, goes to helping kids in the community, different charities. So thank you guys. Again, CAFE CULTURA, guys, they're in downtown Santa Ana, in front of the Federal Building.
Big white building.
And come check them out, because I know I'm going to take Paul there. I've promised them to come have chilaquiles. And I personally like their
I'm
torta.
holding you to it. I'm holding. Either you got to take me there, or they got to come back with food. One of the two's got to happen.
Well, let's go have lunch.
Let's go have lunch, right? And real quick, the hours of you guys' operations, that's important.
Yes, Monday through Friday, it is 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. at
Okay.
both locations. Santa Ana on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, is 9 to 3 p.m. Azusa is 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And, of course, they can follow you on social media.
Yep. Our Instagram is Cafecito Cultura, or at Cafecito Cultura, and our website is cafecitocultura.com.
I got to tell you guys, you got to go to the Instagram. There's some great photos of the food that makes you go, I got to go try this. And there is a parking structure right next to you guys.
Yep. 2-hour free parking as well now, so you don't have to worry about
2
that.
hours free parking. So
Yep.
there's no excuse of, I don't want to go to downtown Santa Ana. There's no parking. No, there's a parking structure right next to you guys.
Right next door.
And come with patience, guys, because there is going to be a line, but it's because you're getting quality food, freshly made. This isn't a drive-through. This is quality food.
Yep, made to order.
Sam, thank you for being here. Frank, thank you.
Appreciate you
Shout
having
out
us.
to Mr. Red, Luis Anaya, of course, Gilbert Meza. Shout out to the fellas. And again, thank you for all the support. Folks, continue to follow us on our social media, Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on our Facebook page, and also, of course, on our Instagram, which is OCHCC. That will give you all of our networking events, our mixers, all of our signature events. We got Estrella Awards coming up, of course, our big gala, April 22nd. So make sure you sign up for that. And gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.
Paul, take it away.
Wow, if that doesn't get you hungry for more, I don't know what will. Come back and hear more as we continue to explore all the good food and good things happening around the county here, particularly in downtown Santa Ana. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.